of the mind to think. In modern education, whatever approach we use or whatever research we do, I think our aim is always to make students think, to train their minds to think. And context-based learning also aims to do this. And what is context-based learning? I'm going to talk about this first. It's a learning approach that their roots are based on constructivism. We know constructivism, I guess. Constructivism is not just a way to teach, but it's a way to learning. It's more of a learning approach, actually, not teaching approach, because learner is in the center in this approach. And because context-based learning derives from constructivism, it also puts learners in the center of the learning process. So there are many definitions of context-based learning, but this is important. The learner is in the center of the learning. And there are many definitions, like I said. Can you hear my voice?
We can hear you.
There are many definitions of context-based learning, like I said. But if we have to make one clear definition, we can say that it's a learning approach which the student learns actively by associating the subject to be learned with the situations encountered in the student's daily life. We focus on students' daily life in this approach. We can say students' daily life, or we can say real life. We gave importance to real life situations. And in context-based learning, this daily or real life situations, we use the term of context. They are our context, and CBL, context-based learning. I will talk about as CBL from now on. In CBL, we use a context that aligns with the topic to be learned. So this context, we select context, and then we start the learn process based on this context. So this context can be selected from different sources. There are 4 different sources for context in CBL. Social and society domain, professional practice domain, scientific and technological domain, and personal domain. Let's analyze them one by one. The social and society domain. This domain consists context taken from social environment and social issues that students are involved in. For example, when we use the context of elections in learning process, it can contribute to students becoming citizens who are aware of their rights and their responsibilities. We can use this context in different disciplines. We can use it in mathematics, in social science, in language. Context selected from this domain can also support mutual sharing of students' experiences in other areas, like social and community areas outside of school. And we can give other examples for this domain. For instance, environmental issues like pollution can be used to teach concepts in ecology or chemistry. Concepts such as air quality or water quality analysis can be used. It can be taught using this context. And another example, civil rights movements in history. This context can be used to explore social justice and how these events shaped our modern society. Students can relate these current events and reflect on their socio-ethical responsibilities. And we can give other examples as well. I gave examples in science and history areas. and I will give examples from different areas for each domain. And then I will give examples for language learning specifically. And the next domain is professional practice domain. This context selected from professional groups and professions such as medicine, law, education, engineering, or teaching. Using this context can help students discover professions suitable for them. And this context can also help to prepare students for their future role as professionals in the public or private sectors. And we can give different context examples for this domain as well. Suppose we are engineer and we are in charge of building a bridge, and we need to calculate the cost of the bridge. This task might require the use of geometry, engineering, mathematics, and even economics. And we can give the other example in the area of art. For example, we are a graphic designer and we need to create a logo for some brand. In this context, we should use design principles, maybe geometry. And in language skills, to improve language skills, we can use the context of preparing for a journalistic interview. In this context, students can practice question formulation, and they can enhance their note-taking and report writing abilities. And those, all of those can enhance their language skills. So we can give other examples for this too, like this domain was a professional practice domain. We can use all professional groups or professions for when selecting context from this domain. And our next domain is scientific and technological domain. Context selected from scientific and technological knowledge and developments belongs to this domain. This domain is important because context chosen from this domain inform students about developments in scientific and technological fields, and it can help them to develop their scientific and technological literacy. And if we need to give examples, like the latest developments from NASA or SpaceX can be used as context. We can use this context to teach physics concepts such as gravity or orbital motion. And in the context of cryptocurrencies and the future of the money, we can give opportunity to students to explore how blockchain technology and digital currencies work. And we can give other examples for other areas as well. And the last, and I think the most important domain is the personal domain. In this domain, context taken directly from students' own life. It's important because it puts each student on the center, like we mentioned before. Students become the subject. This plays a big role in increasing students' motivation towards the subject, towards the lesson. Because active participations in class always increase the interest to students. Students' interest in the subject or the lesson. And we can give examples for this domain in the mathematics and language areas. Like in mathematics, we can use the context of a student making a savings plan with his or her daily money. And we can use this context to teach about basic arithmetic operations like addition or subtraction and percentage calculations etc. And in language, writing an essay about a weekend trip can help develop writing skills and richness of expressions of the students. So there are four different domains for context, like I said, but it is possible for context to belong to more than one domain at the same time. Uh, in fact, we probably expect them to be so. Because, for example, the water scarcity, we say, this context can belong to a social and society domain as well as the personal domain, because it's a social issue, it's a society's issue, but it's also in our daily lives. So it can belong to more domain at once, this context. So we choose context, we say, in one of the domain, but we need to be careful about choosing context because they need to have some qualities. Like context shouldn't confuse students. They should be clear. They should be understandable for students, and also be appropriate to their age. And students should be familiar with the context, so they won't be confused about what was it. And context should be interesting enough, uh, so they so we could catch both male and both female students' attention. It should be interesting, but not be in a structure that distracts them from the concepts to be learned. Like we need students to focus on the subject. We don't distract students from the subject, and they focus more on the context. Uh, like we say, we use some game app, and the focus and students focus maybe uh, more maybe more in the game, but they can't learn the subject. So we need to be careful about that. And if we choose context correctly and apply them correctly, uh, students became capable of associating information with different contexts, and they became capable learning new ways and better ways for accessing information. They start to use scientific process skills, and became they they can take individual responsibility for their learning process. Like I said before, they become the center of the subject. So, just as there are points to aware of when selecting a context, there are also some criteria to consider when preparing CDL lesson or CDL material. And first one is topics should start with examples from real life, like we always say. Daily life scenarios should be given to students. Students should connect with their surroundings. Uh, and students should feel the mm, need for learning. Like, why are we learning this? They feel the need to learn. The importance of learning should be clear. Um, and concepts should be tied to real life as well. Like topics should start with examples from real life, but the concepts we will teach should be tied to real life as well. Um so, and students should be able to find solutions to the problem they can encounter in daily life. So they should be able to apply with what they have learned to find practical solutions to problems they encounter in daily life. And it should also enable students to realize the social importance of science. Students should recognize uh, how science contributes to solving global and local issues. And the context should be selected from students' daily life or socio-cultural environments. And for this, we can use global or local issues. We will talk about this. And it should also enable students to understand and how and why they will use that knowledge. Students should know where to apply that knowledge in their daily life. Um, and of course, the context used should increase students' interest and motivation for the course. They should make learning more attractive for the students. And it should also enable students to understand the relationship between science and technology. The role of technology in applying scientific discoveries should be highlighted. And these are the criteria for material and lessons in CBL. And these are the criteria for problems in CBL. So they are similar, but in problems, there are more focus on the how can I say? We focus more on the solving process, not the findings. So the solving process is important. Like I will give examples for this. We can continue with the first criteria for a CBL problem. The student should be the main character in the problem. Like the story, they should engage with the story. They should feel they are the main characters. They are main character, and they encounter a problem, and they need to solve that problem. We have to give these feelings to students, and the problem should be seen as words to solving by the students, and the object used in problems should be selected from real life. I'm sorry. I thought you can't hear me because I got a message. Sorry. Let's continue. The fourth one is problems should not be solved in one step by substituting numbers in a formula. Like the 2 plus 2 equals to 4. The problems should prompt critical thinking, like not be one step steps, and should be followed in depth. They should be more than one single steps, and they should prompt critical thinking. They should be give opportunity to think deeply. And the fifth one is the problem statements may give more information than is necessary for the solution. And this way, students filter out the irrelevant information, and this allows them to think deeply, I guess, and they analyze, they think critically. This information is given to us, but is it important, or is it necessary for the solutions? Students think these, so it's important to give more information than is necessary. Uh, so we can see if students solve the problem by memorizing or by not thinking, just doing the how can I say? They just do the things that they memorize. They don't think deeply. So we should give more information than necessary than using problems. And on so this one may be related to mathematics, but you can use CBL in language teaching too. So we can move with the seventh one. Assumptions may be in order to solve the problem. They should progress based on these assumptions, students. And analytical thinking should be encouraged when we are preparing problems in CBL. So we talked about CBL, how we can choose context and how what domains are there for choosing context. And now we will talk about the 21st century skills, and then we move on to link them, the most important ones. So as you can see, there are different frameworks from different organizations for 21st century skills. And these 5 skills are the most common ones. Those with the 1 stars are included in all frameworks. But while with 2 stars, those with 2 stars are included in the most frameworks. Not all, but most frameworks. And first one is collaboration and communication. Collaboration involves working effectively in a team, sharing ideas, or contributing to group success. While communication refers to the ability to express thoughts clearly and effectively, through verbally, in writing, or through digital tools. These skills are important and crucial in both academic and professional settings for achieving shared goals. So next one is digital literacy. Digital literacy refers to the ability to effectively use digital technologies to access information, to evaluate information, create information, or communicate information. Digital literacy includes understanding how to use computers, the internet, and various digital platforms safely and efficiently. This skill is important because there is reliance on technology in almost every industry in today's world. And it also allows to use power of technology for learning, work, and social engagement. And, and the next one is social and cultural awareness. These skills include understanding and appreciating cultural differences and being aware of such social issues. This skills is important because raising people who are empathic, open-minded, respectful to diversity is crucial in this global world. Critical thinking and problem-solving skills. These skills involve the ability to analyze situations, think deeply about possible solutions, and make reasoned decisions. And it's important because we live in a world where information is accessible. So being able to filter relevant details and assess their validity and use them to solve problems is crucial. And creativity and innovation. Creativity involves thinking outside the box, coming up with new ideas, being open to different ways of approaching tasks. Innovation is about applying creativity to create something new, to improve process or products. These skills are important because they can help staying ahead in fields such as technology, business, and education. and they ensures finding new solutions to emerging challenges because we live in a really fast changing world. Um, so context-based learning and 21st century skills. Context-based learning is an approach that aims to help students gain knowledge and skills in relation to real life situation. This learning method includes many important elements that directly overlap with 21st century skills. 21st century skills include critical thinking, collaboration, creativity, innovation, etc. The development of these skills can be supported by CBL environments. So we can see how we will see how CBL promotes these skills. And firstly, we will see how CBL promotes collaboration and communication skills. It can promote by fostering teamwork, effective communication, and real-world collaboration. It can foster teamwork because CBL often involves group-based projects where students work together to solve problems, and students create solutions to those problems. They find solutions and they present their findings. They write reports and discuss their ideas. Those can help developing students' ability in to communicate or to negotiate. Also, students may need to engage with individuals outside their classroom. Like they need to engage with experts or community members. This can give opportunity to students to make real-life collaboration and communication. We can give examples for this. Let's say we select context from the social and society domain. We talked about domains, and our context is sustainable urban development. We gave students this project and expect them to work in teams, divide tasks, discuss different perspectives and ideas, and expect them to consult with experts and lastly present their solutions. This process can foster students' collaboration and communication skills. We can give another example. Let's say we are in a history class. Students might create a multimedia presentations to defend some historical figures and their impacts on society. And they need to present their arguments clearly, and they need to convince others. That's our context. So this project can enhance their communication skills and their language skills too. And how CBL encourages critical thinking and problem-solving skills. In CBL, we often use open-ended problems. They have no single correct answer. So this requires students to think critically and analyze different aspects of an issue and make evidence-based learning. So to solve these open-ended questions, students need to gather information from multiple sources and evaluate this information's relevance, synthesize them. So this process enhances their critical thinking and decision-making abilities. And through reflecting on project outcomes, uh, like as a teacher, you reflect on projects, and students can themselves reflect on projects. Uh, Students learn to assess the effectiveness of their solutions and make improvements if needed. So this encourages critical thinking and problem-solving skills. If you think about the example before, the sustainable urban development, um, while designing an eco-friendly urban space, uh, students must critically assess the environmental impact, budget constraints, and community needs. This improves their critical thinking and problem-solving skills. And next, how CBL fosters creativity and innovation skills. It fosters by open-ended problem-solving, design thinking, and real-world constraints. We talked about the importance of open-ended questions in CBL. Uh, these open-ended questions encourages students to think creatively. In many CBL scenarios, students engage in design thinking process. Uh, they they define the problem first, and then they try to find creative solutions. They brainstorm, and they prototype some ideas, and then iterate based on the given feedback. This iterative process enhances their creativity. And unlike traditional learning environments, CBL doesn't focus on memorization and replication. It focuses on innovation and creativity. Like by working with real world constraints, like you said, budget limits or time constraints, or social factors, students can learn to innovate under pressure. And these limitations also can inspire creativity and innovative problem solving. How CBL develops digital literacy. CBL projects doesn't really require students use digital tools, uh, but it encourages using them. For example, let's say our example is designing a water-efficient garden. Students can conduct research about what water-efficient plants are, which environment they prefer, like they prefer it sunny or they prefer it humid, etc. And they can do research about this in digital area, and they can research their course using digital tools. Um, After doing this research and learning what they need to know, they can use digital programs to simulate the garden that they design. They can use digital teamwork tools like Google Workspace, uh, or I don't know, or Trello. And after they finish designing the garden, they can create digital presentations and present them in digital environments like this, like we do. And we can give another example for a math class. Students might use statistical software to analyze real-world data sets. They learn to input data, run analyses, and issue results and interpret them. And how CBL promotes social and cultural awareness skills. As we talked before, CBL projects address social issues, global issues, and local concerns. This exposure can increase students' cultural awareness and empathy, and can help students develop the ability to consider others' experiences. And this can help students to understand different cultural perspectives. For example, in a social study class, students might examine case studies on climate change impacts in different regions, and they can learn about cultural responses to environmental issues and develop a more global perspective about this context. So we talked about context-based learning, 21st century skills, and the link between them. So it's clear that context-based learning provides a rich framework for developing 21st century skills. These skills are not only vital for academic success, but they are also critical in the complex world we live in. Um, and it's important our students to learn these skills. So, so we can use CBL. We can say that CBL is a powerful tool in enhancing these skills. And also using CBL, we enhance these skills, and through this we can prepare our students for the future. And I have some examples for language teaching. I am not expert in language teaching, so you can use these examples. We can
We can include we can include those examples into our teaching activities.
yeah, definitely, and you can update as you want.
By the
Like
way,
the first,
role play is rather popular for our university, for our chair, and so I have used before the war, before we went to learn and teach online only. It was rather popular kind of activity and very interesting, the preparing stage and the realization stage. That is why you are quite correct here in this very effective way of teaching and learning by role play.
I didn't quite catch the last thing you said. Sorry.
So it is a very effective way of teaching and learning for us, and so you were right while just suggesting us that it is really so. It's effective way role playing.
Yeah, it's really important to use these real life examples, and I mm, I think we can use digital tools part very effectively for this uh, for these times. Uh, So we can move with the examples for language teaching, and like I said, you can update whatever you like these examples uh, for your situation. And the first example I want to give is newspaper project. Students can create a classroom newspaper, um, and they can work in groups. They decide on what topics they want to write, and then write articles about them, and then maybe they conduct interviews, and they give feedbacks each other's work. So this project can enhance their collaboration and communication skills, because students need to work together and share responsibility for the final publication. This can be used for, like I said, collaboration and enhancing collaboration and communication skills. And the second one is role play scenarios. Uh, in this one, we assign students roles within a scenario relevant to real life setting. Like we can say, işte, you are in a business meeting, or you are working in a travel agency, um, like we give them roles, and they must use target language. They must use the phrases in that area for negotiation. And for example, they are a businessman and they act as a businessman, and they need to uh, they need they need to
To make profit. To make profit.
yeah, they have to make profit. They need to be polite. They need to be in very different. They need to do very different conversations. So they need to act like a businessman, and or they need to act like a doctor. And these given roles uh, can enhance their communication skills. And so we change this as what change these according to our subject to be learned. And the next example is blogging or social media writing. We can ask students to create a blog or social media posts um, about the topics they are interested or the topics about they are passionate about. And this can integrate vocabulary and grammar structure. Uh, they can learn how to express their opinions. They can learn how to organize contacts digitally. And mm, These can enhance their digital literacy as well as language skills. So other example is digital storytelling. We can use some tools for this. Students can create digital stories in target language, like in English, in Turkish, uh, whatever we like. We say them. You should create a digital story, and you can use digital tools like Storyboard or Adobe Spark, and uh, and so this could also enhance their language skills. And um, maybe when they use these digital tools, they can learn about digital skills too, as well as language. And so other example is social and cultural awareness. In the context of social and cultural awareness, we can give examples of virtual cultural exchange. Uh, so we can organize video calls with different countries, and we can connect with a classroom in a different country, and we can and students can share their ideas, their culture with each other. So this could uh, enhance language skills, and language skills are developed in a very authentic way. So it could be enjoyable, and maybe we could uh, do some projects about multi language community, and we can make our students uh, talk with other community members and other um, persons who are taught different
A
languages.
few years ago, we had the meeting with our students and your students from English school with Ilyas Saikili, and it was just this kind of exchange because we exchanged different aspects like football. Boys were speaking about football, music, films, students' life, typical lessons. So it was just like this cultural exchange between Ukrainian and Turkish students.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. And we can experience um, our view of on the world. Maybe we can experience different perspectives. So it's a good opportunity to enhance language skills as well as connection and communication.
It was
And
really so. So it was very motivating for our students, both Turkish and Ukrainian.
yeah, definitely, I would like to be in some. I would like to participate that too. And other examples, debates on social issues. Maybe you can organize debates on age-appropriate social issues like environmental context, concerns, digital citizenship, uh, uh, and this helped them formulate arguments, help them use evidence, and evaluate perspectives. Um, and while doing this, they can practice the target language. And the next one is escape room language challenges. Uh, you know, I guess escape rooms. We can use language challenges for escape rooms, and students must solve puzzles and answer questions in the target language, so they could solve and can be out from the room. This encourages critical thinking and teamwork as well, and their problem-solving skills too. So we give them constraints with time. We can give them constraints with time limits, and these enhance their problem-solving and critical thinking too. Um, and lastly, we can make uh, creative writing with constraints and language project based learning. We can use this. We give them maybe we say you have certain number or of words, or you have specific vocabulary and you need to use these words, or you need to use this number of words, and we expect them to write uh, stories, dialogues, or poems maybe. And the language project-based learning, um, in this one, maybe there could be different projects, but maybe we can say them they need to design a travel guide, and we target in target language, like maybe Ukrainian students come to Turkey, and we need to design a travel guide for him or her. We can give these projects to students, and this helps for communications, problem solving, and also language skills. So these activities,
This kind of activity is absolutely actual because our students come to Turkey. Turkey students came to Lviv before the war too, but now it is stopped, and our students so sometimes from time to time visit your universities, study there. That's why it is quite actual. It is quite real.
yeah, definitely. Maybe night, uh, even if we can't come or they can't come, we can design an informational guide for Turkey or Ukraine. We can ask students to do this, and this really important for their language
At the
skills.
very beginning, when you were talking about context-based learning, so I thought about our methodics of teaching English and using the real communicative situations. It is somehow overlapping the context-based learning. So the context, the real situations, and the situations can be absolutely real, natural, or artificial. You are speaking about artificial ones, but I prefer to use at my classes the real situations. What is happening, what is going to happen, what happened previously, and it is really, it makes the classes in English more lively, more involving for the students. If they want some motivation, it works. That's
Yeah,
why.
definitely.
Mhm.
Mhm. In context-based learning, the first criteria is the students need to be in the center of the context. But there are some levels in this, like when we use the students' own life, own daily life. This is the first level. We can say this is the best options. Like we use in we use the context in their daily lives, and they really feel like they are the main character. And the, this increases their interest and their motivations to subject as well. But we can use other stories as well, and we ask students to act like them, like act like doctor, act like firefighter, etc. And this is the second level of that criteria. And there is a third level too. In the third level, we give some situations, but the context is not familiar with the students. So the third level is not really we want to use. We want to use the first level and the second level, and the best one is the first level,
Olena
like
has
you
the
said.
question. Olena, are you here still?
Yeah, talking about made stories, you know what I want to ask the question. So, you mentioned previously in your presentation, so you need to make a clear assignment, yeah, and like requirements to the students, yeah, and use the examples from the real life and from the daily life. But sometimes, like, unfortunately, yeah, or luckily, I don't know, but the student's life fulfilled with fantasy. Yeah, so they playing games all the time, they watching movie, they like. So is it right? Like, how do you think? Is it correct to use those main characters from the game? Yeah, during like science lessons. Yeah, for example, and ask your students to reassure, for example, you as an educator. Yeah, so why it's impossible? You know, using a scientific language.
It's not impossible to use the game characters or uh, we can use them. Just they are belong to second level of the criteria. Like I mentioned, there's three levels, and the
Mhm.
first level is the student's own daily life. If students play those games and we write a story about playing those games, and students is the center of that story, this is first level. But if we use the character in the game and we write a story about that character, this is second level. This is the second
Mhm.
level. So we can use both, but when students is in the uh, center, like I said. When students are the main character, they are more
More like
motivated.
relates to.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Mm.
So we can
I'm
use
sorry.
both of them.
Yeah, thank you so much. Can I ask you one more question though?
Of course, of course.
Uh, yeah, so I'm just curious how to evaluate the skills, yeah, like CBL skills as an educator, again, as a teacher. How can you, like, what's the methods probably to evaluate those skills?
We can't use traditional scales for context-based learning because we don't focus on the latest. We don't focus on the findings. We more focus on the uh, which, we more focus on how they find the final results. Like we focus
Mhm.
both in them, not just one of them. Uh, so when we try to evaluate context-based learning, we can't use traditional evaluations, but we can.
Maybe
There's
involving of the student matters much more than the points or they gain. So the motivation, and so it will improve the further to more traditional ways of learning, maybe methods of learning.
Yeah,
I
definitely,
mean,
because in CBL story there is no one correct answer. There are different. They are open-ended questions. So we try to understand how students think, how they are using digital tools, their problem-solving skills. We look at those, not just the final product. So
I
maybe we,
absolutely, yeah,
yeah,
sorry,
yeah,
I
yeah,
absolutely agree with you.
yeah,
And like CBL is like a perfect method of teaching.
yeah.
But unfortunately, yeah, we have like evaluation system in like, in our educational in our educational system, yeah. So we need to give some scores to our students, and like, is it some curriculum probably exist, or some kind of like, I don't know, guidance, like how, like what kind of scores we need to give, like for what kind of skills, so for example, like speaking, like 5 points maximum, or like creativity, like.
So in CBL, there is no one evaluative paper, or we can you should give these 5 points, you
Mhm.
should give these 4 points. There's nothing. There's no material for that, but we need to uh, prepare our own evaluation based on what we want students to do. Like we need to improve their problem solving skills. Like I can give examples. For example, I talked about water efficient gardens. Maybe in that project we can make some evaluation material and put um, like one group maybe uh, use the budget more effectively, you know, and we can give more points for that. Or one group didn't follow the instruction, couldn't follow the limits, like they cross the budget limits, or they cross the area limits, and they and we and they so those students take less points, and those that can meet with the criteria, like they meet the budget, they meet the area constraints. So we can give those more points. Like we
Okay,
need
so
to specialize our evaluations
I
based
understood.
on
So like
our
we have a room
activities.
for improvement, yeah? So like we
Yes,
literally,
definitely.
yeah, okay, gotcha. So it's absolutely challenging process to
Yeah,
evaluate those students and like, yeah, use give the scores.
definitely,
Yeah.
definitely,
Thank you
definitely.
so much. Thank
You're
you for your
welcome.
answer.
Thank you for your questions. Is there any question?
Ще якісь питання будуть до нашої чарівної? Так, Олена ще щось хоче сказати, Олена. То вже...
Yeah, I'm sorry. I have like a lot of questions, yeah, but like this is gonna be the last one, I promise, yeah. So one
You
more
can ask
question.
whatever you want.
No, it's okay, it's okay. So one more question. What's the future of CBL? Yeah, for example, for sure we have some room for improvement. Yeah, but like, how do you think which way, like scientists or teachers, gonna choose? Like, in which way it's gonna be improved in future?
Like how we can, like in which area we can use CBL?
Yes. And like how we can like develop this method, yeah, so how we can make this method better, for example.
Okay, like we can use CBL in most areas, I guess, because it's focused on real life context. Like we live in real life, and context based learning based their roots in real life, context from taken from real life. So in education, in maybe health area, we can use context-based learning. We can use in all of areas, I think.
Mm. Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other questions? Dear participants, Antonina has a question. You're welcome.
Hello, I have one question. Please tell me, you have such a big practice. Can you tell what is the optimal number of participants of the group? Is there an optimal number of the participants? 2 or 3 or maybe 5?
There's no one answer for this, because like I said, in context-based learning, there is very different there's very different scenarios. So for every scenarios, we should change the participants number. Like in one context, we need to maybe sometimes they need to work alone, and in some projects they need to work with more people. But in class, for teachers to be easy to be easy for teachers, we can limit the number, so we can limit 5 or 6 students. So both students can communicate, but not to teacher, not to force teacher, you know. So we need to look at the context, like I said.
Okay,
I couldn't really answer it. I guess I forget some words, but yeah.
Okay, I get it. Thank you.
Any other questions? Якісь питання будуть? Чи будемо дякувати нашій любій вчительці? So, ну, якщо питань не буде, не будете задавати більше? Так, українські студенти. Тиша і спокій, значить ніхто не буде задавати. Then maybe no questions because you were too detailed in your lecture and we got everything and they asked you the questions when they had them. Now maybe we shall finish our work and we shall thank you for your presentation and for your lecture. It was really interesting. For me, it was really interesting because it showed the method of teaching English, as I am a teacher of English, in a little bit different point of view, and it is, but I have concluded that the whole education is interconnected, interrelated, the topics and the methods are overlapping, and it is great when we use different approaches. The main thing is to teach, to involve, to motivate, and all the methods, all the ways are good if they are efficient in this way, in this aspect. Подякуйте, будь ласка, своїми сердечками, хай воно пролетить отак от.
Thank you for inviting me. It was really good opportunity to.
You have so many hearts here on the screen. We are thankful. It was really interesting. And we do hope that we shall cooperate further on. If you're interested, really.
Yeah, definitely. I would love to.
Wow. So many hearts.
Thank you so much.
So we shall send you the certificate. We shall send you the link to the recorded lecture and the just a report on this meeting on our university site. So you will get everything. And if Gamze is here, I cannot see her. So I sent her all the things from the previous lecture long ago, but she didn't even see it.
Gamze was here, but I don't know if
she joined us, but I'm not sure if she is. I shall have a look if she is here or not.
She has just left.
She has just left.
Yes.
Then try to remind her that it is possible to see everything I sent her long ago. I haven't seen her. She hasn't seen what her certificate said. So thank you ever so much. Till the next meeting with Ramazan and you. So it is really a very nice way of communication, scientific communication, and it is useful. I do hope that it is useful for both our side and yours, because
Yes,
she wants to join us again.
I let her know that we are talking about her.
So Gamze is here again. So, but maybe Ramazan will tell her everything. It would be better, maybe, no? So, thank you for your participation, all of the students and teachers. It was really nice. It was really interesting. And so, till the next meetings. До наступних зустрічей.